presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me.
For me, what started me DJing was I tell people I didn't choose DJing. DJing chose me. It was music was that third person in the household. You know what I mean? You have your mom, you have your dad, and in the 70s, late 70s, you had music. You had the Isley Brothers, you had the Whispers, you had the whole Black Power movement. You had Marvin Gaye. You had all these people that empowered black people. So music was that third person, that third parent for me. You know, with the dad's and mother's relationship that didn't work out, and being raised by the mother and the father, as long as it lasted, music was the parent that never left. When mom had to go to work, or dad was going to work, or whenever the house broke up, music came in, was that parent. So for me, it was, I seen how music manipulated, and maybe the wrong word, I seen how music had the ability to change people's emotions. It could make you better after having a long day. It could make you happy when you got your Friday night just got paid. Like when people played that song, it was just, I caught on early how music evoked emotion, and I loved it. Like it was like it helped me through my elementary school days, and my parents always kept music around. It was like, you know, we didn't have 24-hour TV, we didn't have 24-hour radio, there wasn't cable TV at the time. There wasn't FM, black people didn't have FM stations. I know this sounds so prehistoric as I'm saying it. Like, who can fathom a time where there was no cable TV and and all-night radio? You know what I mean? Like FM, but there was only one station. It was 1350 WLOU. And that station would play from whatever time in the morning. And I think it went off at about 7 o'clock in the evening. After that, it was just dead air. And there was nothing for black people. Well, if you had TV, and everybody had TV at this time, not today, but the TV, you had two knobs on the TV, and you had the Jeffersons, and you had the Good Times, and you had those were the TV shows. Those were the black TV shows. After that, you had to watch Dallas and the quote unquote other shows, you know what I mean? So I gravitated to a DJ, and I think it was my dad, I'm sure it was my dad and my mom, who brought me a Fisher-Price turntable. It was like this little, if you go to Cracker Barrel, you can still find this Fisher-Price turntable. They got it at Cracker Barrel. But it was like a little turntable, and it had 4 records. There were 4 different colors. And it wouldn't play music, it would just play this little do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, like the little baby tunes that you hear. And I was fascinated by switching the records. The music itself didn't necessarily do it. It was, I had to be in control of switching the records. I like to change things, you know what I mean? Like, that excited me. And my parents caught on to it. It was like, well, Dad, he don't let the whole record play. Like, he keeps taking the dang off and switching the record. Shout out to the people who have ADHD. Because what we weren't able to do a lot back then was, you know, we were kind of self-diagnosed, if you would. Like, black parents didn't have all the essentials that we do as parents now. Privileges and co-parent. What am I trying to say? DJing chose me, man. Music was my third parent, and I realized at an early age that I liked the way music made me feel. I realized that certain songs made me feel a certain way. Certain songs are equated to pain. certain songs are related to joy. And I think it was Frankie Beverly and Mays that have this song "Joy and Pain," like "Sunshine and Rain." Like I seen how music had the ability to make sad people happy, and that's all I was ever after, was a way to make people happy. I started at home. I started in the and let me tell you, it wasn't even in the basement. It was in the front room. I started on the main stage.
The living room.
You know what I mean? The living room. That's the big stage in your home. You know what I mean? Like, it's how big can you get? And you got other people coming to listen. So, yeah, that was it.
What made me start DJing was, watching TV, watching videos, and seeing all the DJs on the videos, and how they controlled, how the people reacted to the DJ. So then, had this great idea, like, hey, maybe I can do that. You know what I'm saying? So, had makeshift, music stuff. Like, what's the little consoles that your mom and dad had with record player inside. So, try to scratch at that and do that little stuff. So, as get off of that record, boy, get off of it. So, turn up a stuff. So, but I got in tune with it with my dude. DJ Kaos. Okay. So he kind of brought me a little further into the era and the knowledge of it, So so we started hanging out, and his cousin, name is Tweedy. We call him Tweedy, and y'all probably know them. Hold One Studios, Hold Win, So. He took me over his cousin. I said, man, my cousin got some turntables, woo. So we went over there, and I'm like, man. So he was working out on them. So I'm like, oh man, real life DJ. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of, it started from there to kind of now.
Well, I've always loved music from middle school on up. It's like I had my first. Believe it or not, I had my first turntable. My mama bought me like a little turntable with two little speakers, old school, where you got to put the needle on, or it has a little thing that drops the record down. You know what I'm saying? I had that, and actually that was elementary school. And my first record was Kool and the Gang, Ladies Night. So, yeah, I'm telling my age, right? But I just, from that moment on, my mom was into music, so she had like a lot of records and stuff like that. So I always liked music. So it was just kind of like, when I got to middle school, everybody asked me for music. So I was always trying to get music, I wasn't buying music or nothing like that. We didn't really have a black radio station in Lexington back then, So I'm like, had a little tape recorder, cassette, and I'm recording stuff off the radio, that type of stuff. Yeah. And, so when I got to college, I guess it was my second year here, I went home to Lexington. My dude came back from Saudi Arabia from the war, and he had a daggone turntable and a mixer, right? He had two turntables, not the good stuff, little cheap turntables and a mixer, and he was going to start DJing. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do, right?
Right.
So I saved up, I was in the reserves, right? So I saved up my GI Bill checks for a whole year. And that summer of 92, cashed in on my checks, went out and bought me some real turntables. Bought my first set of 1200s. I had to go up to Cincinnati to get them because they didn't sell them here in Kentucky nowhere. So I went to Cincinnati, bought my turntables, went to a couple record stores and bought a few records, and from then on I taught myself to DJ. But I mean, I would say from middle school on, it was like I just loved music. Never really thought about being a DJ because I'm kind of a shy person, right? But I just love music. I always wanted to have all the hot music, and I pretty much did, And even before I got my turntables or whatever, while I was here at U of L, I remember doing 2 parties. Actually DJing. My first party I DJed with 2 cassette decks. No mixer, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? I had a no, it was a dual cassette deck, and then I had a boom box behind me where I could cue up one song, put it in the deck, and then when that song's over, like it had to play all the way out, right? I didn't have no mix or anything. I had to play it all the way out, and then as soon as that stopped, I start the next one. Take this tape out, put it in the boom box with the headphones, and try to find the next song, put it in that one. That was hard work, but I ain't gonna lie. And people tell you, the people that was at the party, I rocked those parties with those cassette. I rocked those parties with those cassette decks. And from then on, I mean, once I bought my turntables, it was just like, I got to make it happen. So that's how I got started.
You follow the DJ. You pay attention to the DJ because the DJ is the one that controls the mood. So you see the mood from the crowd. So the DJ is the center of the attention. So you got the people moving. You like the way they're moving. See the DJ having fun, controlling the whole atmosphere. So, hey, I want to be a part of that. So before you even touch the clubs, you have to know your stuff.
Right.
You can't just go knock on the door and say, hey, I want to DJ at your club, and you have no idea of what you're doing, because you want to. For me, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, I want to be as perfect as I can, because I want that reaction that I see the other DJs have from the people. I want the same reaction, so I have to study. I have to study the DJ, study what he's doing, mimic what he's doing. So so I have to try to do the same thing. But from the equipment that I was using, I tried to perfect it, because that's all I had. Couldn't afford the the 1200s and all that other stuff. So I had to use what I had, basically.
Yeah, I basically, I went home that summer, went to Cincinnati, bought my turntables and some records, went back to Lexington, set up all this equipment in my bedroom, and I just stayed in there the whole summer, learned how to mix on my own and just transition records or whatever. And that was really the basis of it. I was self-taught, you know what I'm saying? You just, listen for the snare, you know what I'm saying, or listen to the downbeat or whatever, and trying to mix different songs or whatever, and just played around with it. Other than that, I would say, I didn't know a whole lot of DJs here, because the only person that I knew here in Louisville was the DJ, the U of L DJ that came before me. Shout out to Chuck. He was from the Northern Kentucky area. But I kind of watched him for like a year, see what he did. And it was kind of weird, because, he was straight, you know what I'm saying? But he would DJ sitting down, and I couldn't understand that at all. But he would DJ sitting down, but he would be rocking the parties. So I just kind of watched him, listen to what he would play, how the crowd would react and things like that, so that if I ever got the chance, at least I'd know what to play, even if I didn't have any skill set. But, for me, it was all about getting ready to take over, because I knew he was about to graduate. So I was like, well, if he graduates, it's opportunity for me to just, slide on in. So it was basically just, taking notes. And then once I started, DJing or whatever, then I started meeting other DJs, and I'd pick up a few things here, a few things there,
So our parents would have these 45 parties where everybody would bring the song that they had, and they all get together and they do their little smoking in the basement and partying, and people would put the red lights in, and it was like a scene out of a movie. And this is back in the days where at a certain age you couldn't be in the room with the grown folks. Like when grown folks was talking, you had to get out of the room, like you couldn't be there. However, I was the exception to the rule, because I was the person that played the music for the party. You know what I mean? Like I had the gift to select the right Isley Brothers song, the right Bar-Kays song. And what they didn't know is when they weren't partying, I would queue up. I didn't know what I was doing then, but it was called queuing up. I would prepare the 8-track tape. I would prepare the cassette tape, and I would have all the records in the order that I wanted them to play, so I could keep the party going. They're getting towed up, but I'm keeping the party going. It's like, how does he know to play all the right songs? And well, because I prepared, you know what I mean, beforehand. So, man, I started DJing for me was, again, it wasn't like I just decided one day I'm gonna be a DJ. It's just, it chose me. It was my parent, and it was something that I just always learned from the music. You know what I mean? And we ain't even got to the part of when hip hop came along. So we ain't got there yet. Like, this is just from, I'm gonna take a leap at it and say around the time I was 5 years old. Just around, started about 5 years old. So from 5 to 12. Hip hop was something that I saw Grandmaster Flash, and I didn't see it because you couldn't see it then, but you could hear it. You knew something different was happening in music. You knew there was a guy that was, music went from a band with 13 people to a beat, and it was like, and then you hear a dude, like it totally changed. And that was like second birth to me. That was like, what the hell is this? Like, what just happened? And it was a shift. But what it was that our generation, my generation, had started making the music. The youth had started creating music. So they didn't have bands. They had a drum machine. Actually, they didn't have a drum. They had other people's record, because the record people would scratch was Good Times. Like, if you think about, there was the mainstream song was Sugar Hill Gang, and the record was called Rapper's Delight. The whole song is just nothing but good times. It's the bass line from Good Times, and people would rap over it. Then there was Sugar Hill. It was Sugar Hill Gang. It was Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. There was these people that would just, you could tell the music was different, but what they were doing with these records was they were bringing them back. So the part would just keep repeating itself. Once I saw a video, again, remember, we didn't have internet. We didn't have, this stuff was coming from New York City, and I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. So I heard it first on these tapes. People would get the tapes here from out of town. And I think it was seeing a clip on a TV show of Herbie Hancock made a song called Rocket. And it was just all this scratching on the record. Man, once I saw that, I went home and scratched every record my parents had. They was like, so I went from being the life of the party to getting my ass whooped for touching the record while it's spinning. You don't touch the record. That would be the equivalent of your kid grabbing the steering wheel while you're driving right now. Like, what the hell are you doing? You don't do that. Are you crazy? So I got my ass beat, like, for at least a year because I messed up needles and scratched records. And keep in mind, I'm still this inquisitive kid. It was half the music, and the other half was, what makes this table turn? So I would also pull it up and take it apart. So I broke it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm breaking stuff and trying to put it back together before they get home. And like, my mind, I've always been that inquisitive. I want to know why. What makes this work? What makes this operate? How does this work? DJing. So I'm scratching. We didn't have faders then. They had the volume knob, so I would have to turn it up when I was scratching, and it was crazy the things I did to emulate this hip hop, to emulate music, the DJing culture.
Man, I can't even, there was a whole lot of DJs back then. Grandmaster Flash,
So a lot of it was TV.
Yeah, most of it was TV. Some of it was Kaos, like I said, and I seen where he progressed from where he was at. So it went from TV to seeing it actually live in person with him, and then he showed me some ropes.
So
Right.
but I can't be mad at it.
But see, let me go back to what you mentioned. You said you was watching us. See, go back to that crowd. I was saying about the crowd. That few little people, that person, 2, 3 people watching, actually paying attention to you. There it is.
Right.
So I say you was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You watched us. You studied us. You wanted to be, how you do that? How you do it? You wanted to be in that crowd, basically, to know these skills. Mm-hmm. So there it is. You don't need, I don't need 1,000 people to I guess to understand me. You know what I'm saying? I just need a few just to understand me. You know, because that few will put me somewhere. You know what I'm saying? 1,000 people. Now, if you get 1,000 people to actually understand you, whew, man, that's some good stuff right there.
1,000
But
business cards.
yeah, it's 1,000 business cards. But I just want to make 1,000 people feel good, have a party, along with my showmanship. So I don't, like I said, I don't expect 1,000, these people to pay attention to what I'm doing, but I'm doing it just to reflect on that people that are paying attention to me, So, and you were one of the cases. Yeah, you paid attention to me, Kaos, Weedy, Reg, and who else? Be Real, I guess. Who else is there?
Back then,
Everybody,
yeah.
Big Rich.
I've seen him.
Yeah.
And back then, I never saw him DJ. Hope y'all not mad that I took all y'all styles into one.
Not at all. And again, a good DJ loves that. Like, we love to think of like you influence somebody and somebody's paying attention. You know what I mean? It's dope. That's
because you got Weedy the silent assassin.
Yeah.
Like, when I DJ, I never liked talking. And I got that from you.
Yeah.
Being able to pick songs and let the crowd talk.
Yeah.
I got that from you.
Yeah.
Like, being around y'all too, I, for the most part, merged y'all together.
Yeah. And took the best parts of what you could use. And you're supposed to do that. Like, that's, if you go on a job and somebody's training you, they're going to tell you, well, do this that way and that way. Well, your job truly is to figure out the best way that works for you, the most effective way to get that job done, right?
Right.
Job well done. You know what I mean?
Right,
Congratulations.
right.
Yeah, you did it. You managed to do that. And that's what we're supposed to do. Like, I didn't learn to start speaking on the mic until I started watching Kid Capri. Like, it was like his energy and I realized, damn, you can talk to people and interact with them. Everybody wants to be acknowledged. When they come out, especially women. Oh, they like to be told, you look nice. You know what I mean? What's up, my man? Did it? He feels good. You just acknowledge, made him feel good. So that kind of made me start speaking more. And I think that gave me a different edge than a lot of guys. Like,
President's the